health transformation.
Good evening, everyone. This is Vidhi Beri again, your health transformation coach, and we are finally on day 14 of this journey in re-engineering all your health and nutrition together with me for the entire family, for your children, and for each of us within ourselves to become more and more aware. Today, I'm excited to share with you something that is a personal journey on how I came to many health discoveries and how I came to understand within myself the mathematics of eating right, eating, drinking, and being merry, which is what we said we'll discuss today. Maybe a little bit of a misnomer as to what I'm going to discuss going forward, but today when I stand before you someone who has transformed in terms of her own journey in nutrition, someone who has discovered her own health patterns, the deficiencies in her body, the allergies that she has, without anyone actually asking me to do different kinds of medical tests, by more trial, error, seeing the physical change in my body and reaching fitness goals, health goals through nutrition, through movement, through visualizations, through role models, and a whole lot of experimentation in my own work endeavor, career endeavor, and searching within as I went through college, professional work, maternity, and now as I stand before you. So I'm going to tell you a story about my own self-discovery from the age of 16 and how I discovered the mathematics of maintaining weight, fitness, health with very few fluctuations. As I stand before you, I can credibly say that I am possibly the only person I know, and I would know at least a few thousand people or more in this world personally, and many clients also. I think I'm the only person who for the last 20 years, 2 decades, 20 years has maintained the same weight. So this is a full disclosure to all of you who have been with me in this journey for the last 14 days. Last 20 years been at the same weight. And I started to question, does my body just stay comfortable here? Does it not move? What's really going on? And did I have any fluctuations in these 2 decades? Yes, 2 fluctuations with the birth of my children through 2 pregnancies. Clearly my body had to put on some weight there, and I will get into that in just a minute. So I'm going to start the story 20 years behind, rewinding with my first discovery of a food intolerance that I absolutely did not know existed. Neither did my family, neither did our culture absolutely have any knowledge or acceptance of it. It goes back to the topic of when we discussed milk. So I decided at the age of 16-17 years that I was going to do different kinds of holistic workouts for 3 to 4 hours a day, maintain my physical fitness, and have the right amount of protein. So see, protein was the main thing in my head at that time from whatever I had knowledge of. So what did I do? I was doing 1 hour of yoga every day to keep my body supple. I was doing 1 hour of training at school for swimming, and I was doing 1 hour of classical Bharatnatyam. And they were all complementing each other in developing my muscle tone, my flexibility, and my stamina. So clearly I needed the right food so I didn't faint in the sultry Delhi summer, which would reach 50 degrees Celsius. So I decided to drink a whole lot of milk. I was living in Delhi, Gurgaon region, and Haryana is capital for drinking lots and lots of milk. That's where everyone gets protein from. So I decided I need at least 1 liter of milk per day plus more milk products, which was not my staple diet until then, to achieve results. Now for that 1 year, I absolutely achieved results in terms of my physical fitness goals and the way I looked and maintained my weight. What do you think else happened, and what do you think I discovered? So my skin went for a toss. Everyone who looked at me after that 1 year thought I was completely hormonal. I had craters, bulbs, and all kinds of things oozing out of my face. And anyone who saw me on the road would stop me to give me advice on how I should cure my skin ailments. And what do you think was happening to my digestive system? Absolute massive amounts of bloating, so no waistline. I was achieving fitness goals, but no slim waistline, lots of bloating, heartburn, constipation, and lot of wind issues in the body. So I did achieve 3 hours of workouts. I did achieve managing that weight, maintaining it at that level, but I had all of this other stuff happening. So clearly my antenna went up and I said, something's not right. I'm not on a healthy path. But no one pointed out to me that this could be the cause. You changed your diet and you went on to a food that you didn't even know you were highly allergic or intolerant to. How did I discover this? So I went along, I didn't change my diet, I tried to do all kinds of external therapies. I just started drinking more water to cleanse. It did help a little bit, especially having internal cleansing water early in the morning. Then I went abroad to study, and in the United States and in Europe, there is a huge awareness of casein intolerance, lactose intolerance, and the body not being able to digest milk products, which at that time in India was quite unheard of. So I tried it out. I said, let's see what happens to my body when I go off all dairy products. So I had to let go of my favorite beverage, which is tea as well. And I love tea with sugar, but I went off everything. And it was magical. Within 6 months, everything disappeared. All my health symptoms, digestive systems, and the acne on my face, none of it was there. Yes, the marks, the craters still left remnants and horror stories in my head to not go there again. So I went off those products for a long time to achieve new health goals. And I still maintained the same weight. Now what happened here? Obviously, a person who's having a liter of milk every day, their body starts to drop protein, calcium, B12, everything from that one food, even if it is harming your digestive system. So when I went off it, what do you think the consequences were? Because at that time, I was highly on gluten products. I was eating wheat rotis, breads, normal foods, and in the United States having all of those thick soups which had more gluten in it, salad dressings which had even more. So all of that food was still there. My waistline expanded. I maintained the same weight because I knew how to manage my quantities. And my nails started chipping. I had a chip on my front tooth as well. And there goes my vanity. So now I start to question, what do I do next? Because I discovered that there are certain deficiencies that are caused by not having milk for a usual milk drinker. Usual milk drinker, now not having any milk at all. So from growing up on 2 glasses, I went to 4 glasses a day and then to 0. And I had all of this chipping. So discovery number 1 in my self-discovery of nutrition was to compensate with a whole lot of nuts, whole lot of seeds and good fats, which is what made my nails grow all the way back, made my teeth fine again, and also gave me the necessary fats on my skin to combat natural dryness that I always had and never discovered that it was a natural temperament of my body. Now to just go into a little bit of Ayurveda, we have 5 elemental predominant states, and my predominant state is the air element and the ether element mixed together, which in Ayurveda we would call Vata. And Vata, being a predominant dosha or element, would make your skin on the drier side, would make your body more angular and structured, would lend the body to more bloating and wind energy. So if I don't keep exercising and walking and moving and stretching and doing my asanas and yoga every day, I am going to experience physical discomfort no matter what I eat. That was realization number 2, because for whoever has been studying in the United States, you've heard of the familiar freshman 15, and freshman 15 means putting on those 15 pounds the minute you touch the shore of the United States, whichever city you are going to college in, because suddenly there are no parents reprimanding you for what you're eating or keeping a control on how much you're eating. And I was eating everything from pastas with primavera sauce and cheese on top, to soft serves, to strawberries in sugar and ice cream, and not once in a while, every single day. So I was eating that every single day, and then of course we had to walk to college, and from our dormitories it was a good walk, and we were always late, so we were running. So natural cardio was going on. So I didn't even realize how I was offsetting all of that junk and all of that sugar that I was putting into my system. And full disclosure to all of you, my breakfast for 6 months was a cup of tea which was mixed with a little bit of coffee and lemon and poppy seed muffins. Lemon and poppy seed muffins with a cup of tea and coffee mixed together was my breakfast for 6 months. My lunch was pasta with a dollop of cheese on top and some vegetables, and my dinner, whatever was a stir fry that was available with strawberries dipped in sugar and ice cream, and sometimes a chocolate soft serve. So I was eating all of that sugar with all of that gluten, everything I told you not to eat. And then one day someone commented to a friend of mine, "Oh, you know that friend of yours who eats baby food?" And she narrated this to me. I said, "What do you mean baby food?" She's like, "Yeah, you know, if you see what you eat, you're kind of eating like a child who's never seen food before. You're just eating all of this, ice cream and cheese and pasta and all of that. And, maybe you should consider that you are getting a little chunky around the waistline. Your skin isn't the best. You could consider that you might have some intolerances." I've never heard of this before. I'm thinking, what is she talking about, baby food? That's what you eat when your parents are not around. And I discovered that the minute I took that cheese out, the minute I took everything that had dairy, suddenly all the symptoms started vanishing. Now, mind you, the weight stayed the same. The body structure changed. So what you are seeing right now, there was a whole 3-4 inches around this. There was bloating. The body structure was completely different. And this body structure, the 2 things that changed it, or 3 things that changed it, 2 were physical, 3rd was a visual, which I'm going to share with you because all of us have role models and idols when we are younger. So the 2 physical nutritional things I did were pretty much, first, eliminating the dairy. Automatically the skin, the bloating, the constipation, the air trapped and bloating went away. The visualization that I did as a young teenager was that every time I saw my role model on TV or in any public news or media advertising, I would just imagine to myself that I have started to look like her in terms of her form and shape. And then I had a role model whose expressions I wanted, and the role model whose body I wanted, who still is relevant and continues to have that desirable physique, was and is Shilpa Shetty Kundra. So however bizarre that might sound or realistic or not, that was my role model at that time, and I wanted those curves. And the first thing I did was visualize it every single day. And the number 2 thing I did is realize I had lactose intolerance and got rid of that dairy. Compensated once I realized my nails were breaking with the nuts, with the seeds and all the fats. And the fats, when I say, I mean traditionally ghee, because that helps with a lot of vitamin D loss and calcium in the body. Then go forward, continuing to discover my movements. So what is the mathematics of movement? The minute you are starting to do cardio every single day, above 1 hour a day, whether it's your commute to work, whether it's a structured class, whether it's a Zumba class, whether it's an aerobics class, or you're playing a sport, your body will need more protein, your body will need natural sugar. So you can up your diet at that time. You feel hungry. And fortunately, I had slowly started to train myself to start picking up things that were more natural sugar, which were the fruits in the morning and some more protein options in addition to my nuts, making my legumes in the afternoon, making that extra effort. For all of those who have not lived in India, you know how hard it is to get into the kitchen every single day when you don't live in India and you live in Europe or in the United States. It's much more difficult than we have it down here. But I made that effort to incorporate that protein, and I was eating more. So the mathematics of my body at that time adjusted to those 2 hours of commuting, cardio and movement, with eating a little bit more, again maintaining the same size. Then fast forward a couple of years, I moved back to India. I conceived my first child, and this is about 10 years, 11 years ago. and I get supremely hungry. And at this point, I start eating on an average on a daily basis. For all of you who know naans, breads, rotis, chapatis, guess the number I was eating. I was eating about 10 to 12 chapatis from morning till night every single day. Every single day. And when you're pregnant, you don't care. You just want to eat because you're hungry and satisfy your senses. So I would eat that at home. I would eat that in my neighbor's place. I would eat it in my grandmother's place. And I would eat rolls on the road because I was imagining I will get no food after my baby is born because we have some strict customs. So this is what was going on in my head, in my life. And yes, the tummy was bloating. And I, at that point, put on about 20 kilograms. So I put on 20 kilograms, first baby. And now I'm imagining, because everyone's telling me you're a big round ball, you're never going to come back to that original weight. Give your clothes away because you will never fit into them. 8 months later, I was 3 kilos away from again that weight. What did I do? I just again went back to the mathematics. Every time I saw I had room to not do the same physical activity and eat just a little bit less, where my stomach would say, okay, I'm almost done, I would take that one chapati out. And every month I would take that one chapati out, coming back down to the normal 1 to 2. Again, normal wheat rotis that I was eating with, by now I had established my proteins, my regular vegetables, my fruits in the morning. So this establishment was already done by that point. Then those last 2-3 kilos actually purely went by running on the cross trainer and doing some Zumba. And yeah, I didn't find that it was great for my back, but I had the fallback of my asanas, which was my training from school days. So I would absolutely stretch my body out in a Surya Namaskar. So this is how we went through that first decade. Now the second decade is where the discovery of all the other foods and the poisons in my body and really restructuring, really becoming aware happened. And this happened because by the time I had my second one, I was again bloating, but this time I actually found my taste buds were changing. Suddenly my mouth was saying, I don't like this food, I want something chatpata, I want something tangy in my mouth, I want a lot of taste, I want sweet, I want chilies, I want lots and lots of things. And I was like wondering what's going on. And in India we always say it's the child that's demanding all of this food, and of course my child has manifested all of those things, but that's another story. I was going through all of these taste cravings, and this is when I started discovering different tastes in food. What satisfies which part of the tongue. But I still put on those 20 kilos. I still ate everything. But this time, I wasn't going crazy on the cereal carbohydrates. And until this point in the journey, I still haven't discovered any gluten-free. I still haven't discovered what gluten does to my body. I've only discovered that I'm doing better without milk in my body. So I couldn't control any of my tongue desires when I was pregnant, which is natural and you go with the flow. I had my second one, and this time what hit me was how tired I was. I knew all of it. I had gone through my professional journey. By this point, I was a maternity wellness educator. I was a child nutrition expert. I was also a health coach. I had done some courses in Ayurveda. I had done my diploma in counseling. So I done all of that. I was qualified. I knew what to do with feeding a baby, taking care of the older one. And I was exhausted. And I was eating just the same. In my head, I went back to eating the rotis, taking one out every month. And I said, this isn't working. I feel I'm deficient. My body is hurting. Aches and pains are happening. And some part of your brain says at that time, maybe I should listen to my grandmother and eat the foods she's recommending. So there's little voices going in your head. Till I actually decided that I'm going to break out of this mold and I'm going to do some holistic learning. So I went around looking for different teachers, including my Ayurveda Acharya, and I asked them different traditional forms, and they said, why don't you experiment with your body? Within the norms that you know, where you're actually nursing your child, experiment with your body and see what works. But sustain every experiment for 6 weeks. So that's the fourth guidance I'm giving you today. Whenever you do something, 6 weeks is the minimum starting point before which the math will not start working. So if you want the maths to start working, you absolutely have to do 6 weeks in a sustained way. Then comes the 3-month point, and then comes the 6-month point, at which point your subconscious memory starts to record what is really going on and engenders habit change. And habit change is what's going to make the mathematics of all of this work beautifully. So I started this new journey this time because I had 2 children by now, and I didn't feel super energetic. I was fatigued, I was sleepy all the time, and I couldn't blame it on child rearing anymore. I knew something was wrong innately. I was like, it's that time to now make that next switch and get vigilant. And of course, everyone in the family is like, it's because you're controlled and you count how much you eat and what's going on. And it's like, even if I ate that extra 1 roti as you all want me to eat, I really don't think it's going to work. And mind you, I just want to add something. I absolutely debunked the myth in my entire family, for all my friends, for all my relatives and the professionals out there. I fed or nursed both my children for 2 years of their life. I did not touch any dairy except for ghee in my food. I repeat, I did not touch any dairy. So for all of those skeptics, when someone is mildly or heavily lactose intolerant, they can absolutely go about doing all the functions for their children without that in their diet. But going forward, what did I start to discover and what were the experiments I did? The first experiment I did was to actually take the concept of fulfilling all the different categorical needs that my body needs in terms of proteins, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates and fats. But have you seen that pyramid? The food pyramid that we usually have where the fats are on top, we kind of reversed the pyramid a little bit. And how did we reverse the pyramid? We reversed it because I'm an adult. I do not do more than 1 hour of activity, cardio, exercise in a day, moderately active. And even though I was running behind my children, I was not going to burn all of those calories and carbohydrates past the age of 30 naturally, unless I did something drastically in terms of movement. So seeing my reality and my comfort levels, I still wanted that energy. So I reversed the pyramid. How did I reverse it? I basically said, instead of the bottom line, which was going to be so large with lots and lots of portions of grains, I'm going to put my fruits and vegetables in that entire category and have that many, because different categories of fruits and vegetables are going to fulfill all of those needs. In terms of high sugar vegetables are going to give me the carbohydrate needs I have. High sugar fruits are going to give me that and spunk me up and also fulfill my taste buds. Then there was tangy, sour, bitter, astringent, little bit of green chili, red chili in my food, lots and lots. And I put my portions. So here was the mathematic I got to. I got to an average of 9 portions of fruits and vegetables in a day. And the days I patted myself on the back was the day I was reaching 13 a day. I have managed to still sustain that. And I'll tell you why I did that. Because the minute I switched to that diet, I automatically knew this is the diet that's here to stay. How long will I continue with it? Where are the cheat meals going to come? I will share that with you. But what changed drastically is I almost reached my visual goal of the role model I talked to you about. Maybe the toning is still remaining to become like that, but I almost visually reached that. I did not have any of the health symptoms. My skin cleared up, started to glow. I had all of the expressions, the physique, everything, and the inner awareness came because there was no clogging in the brain from eating all the foods that was adding unnecessary addictive sugar. I still do remain addicted to certain foods. I don't know whether I want to get rid of those addictions just yet, but I'm going to share with you what those are and where I am in my journey now. What have I accomplished by doing all of these mathematics with my body through food experimentation? And I promise you in the next 10 years, there will probably be 1 or 2 more experiments which I will go forward and share with you. And every 5 to 10 years, I will reinvent and keep doing something new, because the beauty of it is, try something, try it for a sustained period of time. Let it become a subconscious part of your body. at least 50% of that will resound true and will be there to stay as a part of you. Then you will decide what is comfortable, what is not natural to you based on your own knowledge of the body, based on the reactions your body shows. For example, when I shifted to this large portions of fruits and vegetables, what did I discover, which I kind of knew to be true? We all know salads are great for us. I actually discovered that salads and leafy salads don't really suit me. That was what my body told me. There are people who do beautifully with it. I also discovered that I absolutely cannot digest lentils in the evening, which is a protein. I should be having protein 2 to 3 times a day. I couldn't digest it. Again, the wind energy would start working havoc in my body. And again, for all of you, what does that do? It causes everything from bloating, heartburn, acidity to headaches, migraine, and many times issues with digestive passing, hemorrhoids, a lot of issues in people. And I discovered from basic foods, legumes are supposed to be alkaline, but the way we cook it in India, it was causing issues. I couldn't have salads, but I was still maintaining those numbers, and I figured out ways and recipes to do that in a way that suited my body. So that's my knowledge impartation to you today, that if you want to get to a certain number of anything, try it in your body. You're hearing me today, try it on your body, whatever resounds with you. You take the whole package, you take half of it, try it on yourself, see what works. You will get answers, because no one body, no one mind is the same. We all have different manifestations of food within us. Nutrition manifests differently within us, and we all will come up with our own answers. When we come up with our own answers in our body, then we will truly be feeling fulfilled. And this fulfillment will come from within, where you will know, today is the day when I can eat one samosa, and I'm okay with the consequences. If it causes more wind in my body, it's okay. If it makes me severely sick, then it's not here to stay. It's something that needs to go away. And yes, when you do start cleansing, including everything I told you about, and doing the intermittent cleanses and the fasting that we mentioned in one of our sessions, there will be a point where your body will outrightly reject any comfort and junk food. Why does it do that? Because there is a point where the body is preparing the gut and cleansing it completely. At that point, your gut becomes highly intolerable. It cannot tolerate any of those familiar junk foods, and that's the catch, because at that point, many people get frightened by this change, and what frightens them is that I wanted to eat that packet of Maggi, and now I can't digest it. I don't want to be healthy anymore because I want to eat my comfort food. I don't think it's good for me to be so healthy that my body can't tolerate a packet of Maggi. Now the thing is that, number one, you are saying to yourself and your body that I'd rather stick to that once in a while thing to digest it, so I'm going to keep putting junk in my body so that I can keep digesting it, rather than cleansing it and my gut deciding that this is poison. So be very aware of what you're doing when you're saying that to your mind. And then there is a point beyond which, once you've cleansed, once your gut is completely clear and starting anew, where we start putting in prebiotics, probiotics, and it starts to strengthen. Your gut immunity starts to strengthen. Then when you do those little tweaks and you put in that little samosa in your mouth or a little piece of chocolate cake, you have evolved your gut, you have evolved your mind, you have evolved your awareness, and you have more discipline and willpower. So it is a holistic development and a maturity that you've gone through. And mind you, this cannot be achieved in 6 weeks. It cannot be achieved in 3 months. It takes a minimum of 6 months to 1 year. So today I'm telling you a long-term story, because it absolutely has to be a journey. And many people who come to work with me want quick fixes. Every week they get restless. They say we're getting bored. And the thing is, this is a problem we are facing generationally, because we have instant gratification everywhere, from our media to wanting the food that we want, and we want results the same way. But the human body doesn't work that way, and the mind is constantly a restless monkey. So it's constantly looking for novel ideas to fix things. But while you're doing that, you still have to hold on. Your body has to every day go through the same cycle, the same processes of digestion, right? Doesn't it get bored? Doesn't it feel like doing something different? Do you think your lungs can wake up one morning and say, today I'm going to digest the food, and tell the stomach that you breathe today? It can't. So there are certain things we have to absolutely be consistent about, be diligent about, and be in a disciplined approach for a long period of time to actually come full circle where our gut immunity is highly mature and developed. So today when I stand before you, even though I continue to follow that bottom layer of 9 to 13 portions, which has stayed as my mantra, I still have a significant 20 to 25% fat content in my diet. I will absolutely have 5 spoons of Maggi when my son makes it. I will absolutely have the fried samosa when my grandmother gets it made by our childhood cook. And I absolutely cannot get rid of my tea with proper regular refined sugar every single day. So I will continue to do that. I know for a lot of you, that's not even junk, that's basic. But we are all at our different stages of nutritional discipline and evolution. And we all fight our different journeys and our battles and whatever we've grown up with. So, coming to the more important question, in terms of how you want to evolve, what are the issues you face? You will not face the issues that I did. Some people have an appetite control issue. Some people want to have certain foods because they've been taught. I'm getting some beautiful questions on this. What about lactose-free milk? What about A2 milk? All the different kinds of things. So people will digest, some people won't. We have casein allergies, lactose intolerance, milk allergy, lots of things happening to the body. What I find for sure, and I can say this through my decade of experience with work, 70 to 80% people as of today, from childhood to maybe 90-95 years of age, will absolutely benefit from having a low lactose and a low gluten diet. Now remember, I'm saying the number is 70, I'm not saying everyone. There are some people whose gut has absolutely become immune and they can digest everything. But robust digestion is a privilege of maybe 2 to 5% of the population of this world, not for the rest of us. There might be 20 to 30% who just about manage, and the rest 70% are suffering every single day, but we are so attached that we absolutely can't let go. And the mathematics cannot work until you let go and you have discipline every single day. And lastly, I'm going to tell you one magic in my life that happens every day. I make sure that I give 20 minutes to mindfulness because that creates time, and I make sure that I sleep because I absolutely cannot compromise. It's a vice for me, maybe it's a necessity, it's a need, it's a luxury, but I absolutely sleep, and that is the key to the mathematics of being healthy, feeling healthy, and being active. If you don't get whatever it is 6, 7, 8, 9 hours that your body needs, you're not going to get the mathematics right. And that is something that has not changed in the last 20 years. So find that right balance for you, find your mathematics with all the tools that I've given you today, and see where you fit in. I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as I did. I will see you going forward in many discussions and series and through personal consultations. Hope you had a good night. See you all soon.